Yes, hello Form 2s. Welcome for our biology session. This is our 13th class, or 13th lesson that is. Today we are going to continue the blood vessels, and our objective is to state, so I'm saying this is our 13th lesson. And under transport in plants and animals, today we are going to look at the blood vessels and diseases and defects of the circulatory system. So our objective 1 is to state the structural and functional differences between arteries and veins. 2, to look at the diseases and defects of the circulatory system. Now, we have a table here, and in this table we have tabulated the structural differences. Differences in the structure of these two blood vessels, arteries and veins. Now the first one, arteries, they have thick walls. So walls are thick and muscular with more elastic fibers. Remember, arteries receive blood from the heart. So the blood comes with a lot of force. For them to resist that force, that high pressure of blood, then their walls must be thick and muscular. But veins have walls which are thin, less muscular, with less elastic fibers. The walls are thin and less muscular in veins. Why? The blood normally flows in veins under low pressure, smoothly. So that is a structural difference. The second structural difference is that arteries have no valves, but there is an exception, where the exception is at the base of the arteries leaving the heart. Remember the outer, we have semilunar valves. Those semilunar valves are only found at the base of large arteries leaving the heart. But veins have valves at intervals throughout their length. So throughout the length of veins, you'll find valves to prevent the backflow of the blood, to prevent the backflow of the blood. Another structural differences here is number 3, which states that the veins, they have narrow lumen. I hope you have not forgotten about the lumen. The arteries, they have narrow lumen. Now, they have thick walls. This is the lumen. So this one is vein, this one is artery. Artery have narrow lumen. Veins have a wide lumen. So that is also a structural difference. Let us move on to the second part, which deals with the functional differences. How they function. What do they do in terms of their functioning in the body? Arteries, they carry blood away from the heart. That is a functional difference. Veins, they carry blood back to the heart, towards the heart. Except pulmonary, but we are coming to that. So they carry blood away from the heart. Arteries, veins carry blood away from the heart. Then arteries, they carry oxygenated blood. So we say the arteries carry oxygenated blood, blood rich in oxygen, except pulmonary artery. And when we come to the veins, veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein, which carry oxygenated blood from the lungs back to the heart. And then number 3, blood flows rapidly under high pressure in arteries. Why? Because that blood is directly from the heart. It is under high pressure and rapidly. But in the veins, blood flows slowly under low pressure, because that blood has lost pressure, moving from the heart to the body parts. And then now it is moving back to the heart. It has lost some pressure. And then number 4, blood flows in pulses in the arteries. So in the arteries, the blood does not flow smoothly. It does not flow like water, but pop, 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 because of the pumping action of the heart. And remember, the pulses are also generated by the contraction and relaxation of the walls of the arteries. We have seen that the walls of the artery are muscular, and they can constrict and dilate to push the blood forward. And then number 5, but in veins, blood flows smoothly with no pulses, smoothly back to the heart. That is a functional difference. Then number 5, the arteries have ability to alter their diameter depending on the requirement of the blood by certain tissues. So the arteries, they can vasodilate or vasoconstrict. We had discussed that earlier, how they constrict and how they dilate. That one results into alteration of the lumen. The lumen can be wide to allow more blood, or the lumen can be narrow. So lumen can be wide, or the lumen can be narrow to allow more blood or to allow less blood, while veins have no ability to alter the diameter of their lumen. The diameter of the lumen, this diameter for veins is constant, fixed. The diameter of the lumen of the arteries can either widen or become narrower, either to allow in more blood or to allow less blood. So that one brings us to the end of the differences between arteries and veins. Now, our next discussion is the diseases and defects of the circulatory system. Here we are going to look at those diseases or those abnormalities that occur in the circulatory system of organisms. And we are going to concentrate on humans, because that is what we are learning here. We are learning about your body as a human, so that you have enough knowledge on the functioning of your body and any side effects that whatever you do has on the functioning of the body. So we have 4 diseases and defects of the circulatory system. One is called thrombosis. The second one is called arteriosclerosis. The third one is called varicose veins. And then we have the common one called hypertension, or we call it high blood pressure. You ever heard of people suffering from high blood pressure, hypertension? These are things that some of them we can avoid due to whatever we consume in terms of food or the lifestyle that we have. So moving forward, let us look at what we call thrombosis. Now, thrombosis is normally the formation of a clot in the blood vessels. A clot. The solidification of some blood within the blood vessels. So, blood is supposed to remain in liquid form. And even the proteins that are in that blood should remain soluble proteins. At times you find that the proteins in the blood can be converted into forms which are insoluble, creating what is called a clot. So this one can create a situation that is referred to as thrombosis. So what is this thrombosis? Thrombosis is can be caused. It may occur when the arteries become more fibrous, losing their elastic nature. If the arteries become more fibers means they become rigid. They are not elastic. They cannot stretch easily. When they cannot stretch easily, there is that ability, there is that possibility of them causing rupture of the platelets that run through them. This one may cause clot within the blood vessels, resulting into thrombosis. That one brings us to the end of our first segment. Let us meet in the second segment.